Okay, so that was interesting. I don't remember the last time I've gotten somebody so fucking irate by just sitting down near their vicinity. Uh, but with good reason. He was trying to have a fucking domestic with his girlfriend on the bus, and I was just riding home, but I'm still in uniform, so I was like, I was too. I turned to look at him. He's like, "What are you looking at?" I was like, "I want to see what's going on back there." And the driver turned up the lights because she was looking at him when I first got on, and I had already checked him out because he's fucking, out there fucking tweaking in his fucking bag and shit. I was like, "All right, dude, like whatever. I don't give a fuck what you're doing, really, like, but my driver's concerned." And then so he said, "Well, if you want to see what's going on so bad, why don't you come sit back here?" So I take him up on it. I get up and I walk to the back of the fucking bus. He tries to put his feet on the seat. I'm like, "Get your fucking feet off my seat." He got fucking so mad. And I was just playing a game of chess. He's like, "Fuck you. You like this? Blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to have a moment with my lady." I was just ignoring him. And then she started talking to me. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I recognize you. You work down there at the transit center." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm off work. I'm not even trying to fuck with you." Just stop your bullshit. Just stop your bullshit. We're all just trying to ride home. So that was fun. And then as I'm walking past the bar just now, I saw another fucking domestic. And I walked past the dude and he's all, "Don't get a girlfriend." Don't get a girlfriend. No, that's good advice. No, don't do it. It's not worth it. Never, ever, ever. Oh, goodness. All right, we're on the block. See Mikey Sue's 4. Good to see you, brother. We'll be on about it in a minute. I have to get inside and do the usual routine. I decided to do another stream tonight because my mind is all jacked up. Can't go on too long because I have my meeting in the morning and I got a bunch of shit to do tomorrow. But I'm going on for a little bit. I'll probably open up the room in a minute. No notes or special talking points. I mean, I know I'll eventually maybe recall something that I was thinking about because there were a couple things I was thinking about talking about, but like, yeah. Fucking pretty fucking warm out. I'm cozy. I just took my jacket off. I don't even need a jacket. It gets real warm out. So, got that. My lungs have been just fucking haggard, hence the title of the stream. If I cough like a mofo, because I've been chain smoking like a mofo. And, Yeah, came off of my whole positive vibe this morning and got, a random fit of depression at work, which is always fun. That's what we need. We need random fits of depression. No, we don't need that. It's like, fuck, man. Fuck, everything was going so well. But I'm fine now. Everything's fine. We're all fine. Everybody's okay. Fucking all the time. It's like, if it's not, like actual shit happening, it's like fucking boredom. Drives you nuts. Tell you what. Nothing like boredom to fucking make you lose your mind. Oh god, my glasses are just something awful. I need wipes. Rape me, my friend. Rape me. Rape me again. But I'm not the only one. 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 Hate me. Do it again. Rape me. Waste me again. I'm not the only one. 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 Buried inside songs, kiss your open source. Appreciate your concern. You're gonna stink and burn. That's how you know you're playing the wrong key. Rape me, my friend. Rape me. Rape me again. I'm not the only one. 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 Rape me, rape me, rape me, That was terrible. I'm right in there. I'm right in there. I haven't played those songs in so long. I thought about trying to pull out the notebooks, but it's all buried over there. I don't have the patience for it tonight. I don't have the patience for anything tonight. I don't even have the patience for this fucking stream. Do I get off on being a dickhead? Yes, I do. Doesn't everybody? No. You miserable prick, you. Oh yeah, what's that other song I was thinking of earlier? I'm like, I know a bunch of songs. That's it. There it is. There it is. Okay. I hear them calling to me from another world. Look at them placing it, they say. Oh, won't you join us in a world that's without pain? Leave behind your misery. I cannot listen without longing to let go of my burning sound so sweet. Reasons to hold on, there are many. This I must remember when the silence comes to me. I hear them calling from me, from me, oh no. And I feel I can't go on. Oh, no, no, no. I hear them calling from me, oh no, no. But find the strength to carry on. I need you. Oh. See, I can't go up there unless I get louder. I can't get too much louder. So let's try Johnny Cash style. That way I can always sing low. When I awake, their call still beckons me. Sadness from unremembered dreams. And in this prison, in this longing, I'm waiting for parole, waiting to be free. I know that my time here is not done. Still so much that's left to do and say. I know that my work here is not done, but I'll go to them someday. I hear them calling from beyond, from beyond. No, no. Just find the strength to carry on. Oh, no, no, no. I hear them calling from beyond, from beyond. Oh,
It's Tigger Armada. I know everybody cares so much. Well, I started the stream way early. Okay, that's why it makes sense Damn, I fucked it up again. See how that works? So yeah, delirium is real. I did not. I keep having to remind myself. I did not sleep a full night's sleep last night, and so my normal functioning brain is not normally functioning as it would abnormally function. Because not only am I fucking weird, but now I'm sleep deprived and weird as well. So. I like it. I kind of like it. I don't know. It's weird. I haven't done this in a while. I feel like I'm on drugs, but I know that I'm not. Fucking pipe is clogged. Oh yeah, that's one. 'Let's go. Fucking it. Damn, that was hard. Acoustic, I mean. So I know how to play this. One, two, five, 2, 5. Is that the first line? He says, fuck off, quit school, never trust a fucking hippie. Right? That's the first line. Fuck off. No, fuck off, don't work, never trust a fucking hippie, and then quit school. Shit. See, now I'm getting the lyrics transposed. I know them. Yeah, something up with that E though. I need to change these strings out or something. Everything's in my fucking way over here tonight. Oh, there's a guest backstage. Somebody's like trying to join apparently. I don't. And it's Mikey. Woo! Hello, Mikey.
Hey, what's up, Trustee?
How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. This is like my third stream I've joined tonight. I'm like going, ah!
Yeah. No, I
I'm
know how
almost
that
out
is.
of it, man. Yeah, you were doing some great chord playing there, man. I wish I could have learned how to play guitar. I wasn't, what's the word? Musically inclined. Yeah.
There's still time. I always say it is never too late to learn. You know.
Yeah, I just have to get my own guitar. You know what's cool? My wife used to play a banjo. I was like, I'm so jealous of you, Suzanne. You used to play a banjo? Damn. I can I
That's awesome.
damn. My dad used to have a Yamaha guitar. You remember those? Yamahas? Like a rhythm guitar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he used to own a big yellow one. I don't know. I plucked chords and my dad would say, well, hey, Michael, don't pluck chords if you break this thing. I'm like, don't worry, Dad, I'm not gonna break it. Come on, I'm just playing some
Yeah.
chords. No big deal. Jeez, you know how parents are at that age. You know,
Oh yeah, I know.
they,
Um, well,
they
most parents, me, I was like, I gave the kids the instrument, and I was like, just do whatever you want with it. And then they were bored at that point. They were just interested. They were like, oh, I can make noise, cool. They never broke my stuff, so I wasn't worried about it.
oh, thank God. Wow, jeez.
I broke enough of my own guitars that I wasn't really like too concerned about it when my kids came around. I was like, yeah, I've already dropped this thing on the floor a few, times, at the shows or something, so whatever. Have at it.
Yeah, I'd seen in concert a couple legends. I think I told you that already. I saw
Yeah.
Eric Clapton in one concert, and I saw Eddie Van Halen in another. And I was just, oh, damn, that was awesome, man. Just great guitarist in an age when you're like, wow, just a new appreciation for guitarists in general. You see those guys play.
Yeah,
It's
Clapton, I
awesome.
think, he gets, people always, I mean, he's a great guitarist, but I think, what really gets overlooked is the instrumentation, how much of that instrumentation um, he, all the music he writes, you know what I mean? Like, he has a great
Yeah,
backing band, but he comes up with all of those harmonies and things like that, which is kind of really his talent.
absolutely. Um, if I remember correctly, he played in like 4 bands growing up. He was
Right.
that good. He was that good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was with Cream, and then he was with shoot, I can't remember all the. Yeah, he had an. Do you
Uh,
remember?
let me see. Cream, the Yardbirds. I think one time. Let's see what else. Oh, Derek and the Dominoes,
Right, right.
and well, his own band that I saw him play with his tour, Slow Hand tour. So yeah, he's played in 4 bands that I remember.
Right, and including his own, yeah.
Yeah. So and he had when I went to see him in concert, he had this one very talented female who was playing an electric violin. Have you ever heard those before? An electric
Oh yeah,
violin?
yeah.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember her name. And I think that Eric mentioned it once when he was introducing his band members, but man, it was so loud in there. I couldn't hear it. Uh, they had that one guy that opened for him. It was Bob Dylan's kid Jacob and the Wallflowers opened for him.
Oh
With
right,
one,
yeah.
yeah, with one headlight and all that stuff. Yeah, Jacob is definitely like his dad, a great storyteller and a great songwriter, and you know, it's like the apple isn't far from the tree with Jacob. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and he has a passion for it. You could tell. It's not like one of those kind of forced things. I felt like with Kelly Osbourne, like I felt like she was just kind of doing it for clout, and she wasn't really, like when somebody you could tell when somebody has a real passion for the music they're doing.
yeah, and who's the other one was kind of pushing? Oh yeah, Ozzy's son Jack. I didn't know he was in a band. That's kind of crazy. I just speaking of a band I just heard recently. Well during the Inconvenient Truth tour, which was Van Halen, I told you I went to see. Wolfgang, his son Wolfgang Van Halen, was
Hmm.
playing the bass part that Michael Anthony would have normally played. And then after his dad passed away, uh, he went, his son went and created a band called Mammoth Van Halen.
Oh, nice.
Not,
I think I
yeah,
have heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, and he's on YouTube, and oh my God, he's just so talented like his dad. And he can play piano and guitar. I mean, his dad taught him all the instruments that he learned growing up, and I was like, wow, that's a
Yeah,
great dad.
Eddie's another one I think is not especially well known. Is not just a guitar virtuoso, but he could play and orchestrate all the instruments, right?
Right? Yeah. There was another person I saw just like that too. Uh, I went to see the Police when they reunited in 2007, and the band that opened for them was called Fiction Plane, and Sting's son from his first marriage, Joe Sumner, and his 2 bandmates. I swear, man, it was like I was hearing an echo in the hall, man. It just Joe was just like his dad. It's insane. He sings just like his dad Sting. It's nuts. But it was great. It's a great concert.
Nice. I was gonna do something kind of like that years ago using a loop pedal I had, and I wanted to do like a one man band industrial type of thing. I was gonna call it Insex, like
Insects.
INSEX, but one word.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would have been cool. What kind or what instruments would you have put together? Well, besides guitar,
So at that time, I had a multi like an effect pedal that I could emulate a guitar. I could emulate the sound of a bass from my guitar, and then it had a drum loop as well. So I
nice.
figured that if I had a looper, and I did this, I just never did it live. I could have the drum loop, put down a bass track, and then just play guitar to that, and loop it as long as I felt, and then it was kind of cut and paste type of thing. But with industrial music, that's kind of the way you're going. You know what I mean? So it was just about like dropping the beat at the right time and getting the loop in synchronicity. Um, So
Yeah,
that was kind of the way I did that, and then just a lot of distortion, just heavy fuzz distortion.
yeah. A band I used to sing for back in the early 2000s. My buddy Bobby Cook called it the Jamioki Band. I think I might have mentioned it too. It was kind of combination between live band and karaoke,
Right.
and we had to make sure that as guys that were playing in the band and singing backup harmonies, we had to make sure that we were in sync with the karaoke screen and the karaoke songs that people were singing themselves. And we told them we're going to help you guys out, help you with harmonies and melodies and rhythm and everything. And it was a big seller for about 8 or 9 years. So I miss that band, man. I really do. They were great guys.
Yeah. I mean, whatever your passion is. I mean, even if it's a karaoke thing. I mean, I think that live band karaoke's kind of taken off. Like, if you were to get back into that, it's pretty profitable.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite for when I did it, but but that was years. That was a few years ago. Yeah,
We've
he
got a
played.
few local bands here in California that are fairly well known
Yeah.
as far as just for being just really solid, and they play around a lot. There's God, I'm trying to remember now. There's an AC/DC cover band
Oh,
that
that sounds
is,
good.
I think. See, I'm getting them confused now. Um, no.
Well,
Okay, so I
that's
think the AC/DC cover band is called DCAC, and they're pretty much standard. And then there is a Black Sabbath cover band that is all women, and then there's another Black Sabbath cover band, but they're called Max Sabbath, and so their whole shtick is they do Black Sabbath songs, but they do it dressed as the old McDonald's characters, like the Hamburglar and all those guys.
that
Yeah.
sounds cool. Yeah, my wife got to see ACDC in concert. I was a little bit jealous because she said that it was a great concert. Everybody actually wanted them. It was here in Canada because she's a native Canadian, and she said that Justin Timberlake and Rolling Stones opened for Ace, or well, Rolling Stones was supposed to be the headliner band, but not if you were there. Everybody wanted ACDC, so yeah, they did much better than the other two.
Yeah, there's certain bands that are like that. Like, it doesn't matter who opens for them; they're gonna have the diehard fans who are gonna be like, "We don't care about the opener," and we're just waiting for that band.
Yeah, yeah, that happened to me one of the prior concerts I went to. Uh, as I said, I saw the Police when they reunited, but I did see them during the Synchronicity tour, and they had the group Madness that opened for them, and then the Thompson Twins. But they were just up and coming then, bands and
Yeah, I was like,
Madness,
Madness. Were they the ones that did? I'm trying to
Our
think of it.
House in
Yeah,
the
that one.
Middle
Okay,
of the
yeah,
Street.
same. Yeah,
That was
okay,
their only hit then. And
yeah.
then yeah, and then of course the Thompson Twins. Later on, one of the lead singers got his girlfriend and eventually his wife to join the band, but this was before even that. So it was just the two guys, the lead singer and then his reggae friend. And they did a couple songs, but nothing you'd really recognize. And then the Police came on. So
That's interesting though. You got to see the Thompson twins before they got
before they
legitimized, right?
even got started, yeah, before they
Yeah.
really even got started, yeah, that was great stuff. And yeah, and I'd seen I think I mentioned I'd seen Sting 7 other times, like solo, but there was a bunch of people that opened for him. I mean, there was Johnny Lang and let's see, there was Annie Lennox from Eurythmics.
Oh
Uh,
wow, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
you
was.
tend to think of the headliner artist and not so much the openers unless it's somebody you recognize. I think one of my most memorable shows was watching. I went to see Tool, and they had Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys and his band open for them, and so
Dang.
that was really cool.
Yeah,
But
I
what
like.
topped it off was towards the end of the show, they did they brought both bands out on stage and performed together. You know, so that I always think that's really cool.
Yeah, I got to meet the two singers from lead singers from the band Collective Soul one year. Ed Roland and his buddy, his bassist Joel, and I swear Joel looks like he looked like the guy from the Doors, uh, reincarnated. He could play like him too. Uh,
You mean Robbie? No, no, Rayman.
no,
No,
no, no. Oh yeah. Okay. I guess yeah, like Robbie Krieger, but
right, right. Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
was
yeah,
thinking.
Krieger. But I was, but he could sing like oh
Seems
man,
like Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison. Yeah, he had the
Okay.
height for it too. And Ed Roland, of course, he had his hair all long, waved back, and yeah, I ran into those guys at a local restaurant. This was in Tempe, Arizona, and a local Mexican restaurant I used to hang out at when I was going to school there at ASU in Arizona State. And ran into these guys, and I was like, "Oh, damn, man, you're Ed Roland." And he said, "How'd you know?" And I said, "Well, I can tell by your look, and I've seen your videos, man." And they gave me a recommendation about their album 7 Year Itch, which I have to say is one of the greatest albums I've ever heard a band do for Collective Soul. And the thing and my favorite song by them is Shine. And this was the only concert I got to see them in. So I don't know when what songs they do in their set or anything. And they said, well, make sure you come close to the stage, Mikey, and we'll play it for you. And I said, okay. So I got to the stage, and they were playing all their other songs, and I'm like, okay, when is Shine playing? When is Shine playing? Shine was their very last song. And their
Yeah, yeah. I think we
set.
were talking about that before. Yeah, how they
That's
kind of structure it that way because it's
yeah,
one of their most popular songs. But
exactly. But it still makes me laugh because this one guy in the audience, in the crowd, he says, "Dude, didn't you know they do Shine at the end of every one of their sets?
yeah,
When they're done for the night." I said, "Oh, come on, man, don't make fun of me. This is the only concert I ever got to see of these guys." But I did get to talk to them beforehand. He said, "No, you didn't. You didn't talk to them." I said, "Yes, I did." And I lifted up my hand to Ed Roland and saluted him. He saluted me back, and this guy just shut up because
nice.
he saw me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, man.
It's
Salute to
crazy,
you."
like being a musician. I meet other local musicians, but I haven't met any of the bigs that I've seen. I haven't even really tried. Like I'm never one of those that tries to get backstage or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I just hang out. Like I hung out around the whiskey a go go for like 3 days, right? But my son ended up meeting this guy Lars Fredrickson. He's kind of a local legend from the band Rancid,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, he ended up meeting him like in a pizza parlor down in Oakland just because they were hanging out there. It just happened to see him
Yeah.
after a show, or I think
Yeah.
it was actually before the show they were going to see, and they ran into him hanging out down at his pizza parlor, and he lives down there. He's like a local, like anybody could kind of meet him if you know where to look. But
Right.
like my most memorable moment was being down by the whiskey. We were at the Rainbow Lounge, and we were hanging out, and there was this kid at the table adjacent to us, and I just kept watching him because I was noticing he was like just super talented. He was walking around with a set of drumsticks, and just he was tapping on everything and just making amazing rhythm. I was like, that kid's phenomenal. And like 2 years later, I looked in the Guinness Book of World Records. He was like the youngest uh, recorded percussionist in history to be like. So they basically used him as a session player for a professional act, but he was like 10 years old or something. Like it was, I was like, oh yeah, I ate next to that kid a couple of years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I went to see. I've got like 3 or 4 musicians I know online, and one of them went to school with me, and she's now a Grammy artist. Her name's Anne Marie Paserna, and she does a indie music genre. It's got like different kinds of music mixed together, so they call it an indie rock or indie music genre. And now she's in Nashville. They're based there now, but she does a lot of stuff with country and uh, you know bluegrass and that sort of thing. And one time I went to meet a friend of mine all the way up in Seattle, and she didn't even expect me to be there. Her name's Jennifer Crutchfield. At the time, she was Jennifer Newberry, and I went up and saw her backstage before she started her set. And I just remember hearing her song. It's called Daddy. It's on YouTube, and it's under her name, Jennifer Newberry. And I just remember hearing it. I thought it was a great song. And when I met her, she said, "Wow, you came all this way from Arizona?" I said, "Oh yeah, I wanted to visit. I hadn't been to Seattle in a long time. I think the last time I went there was with my folks, but that was a very long time ago. As just a little kid, so I wanted to check out Seattle and the music scene, and I went and attended their music festival, and yeah, like I said,
Do you
hung out with
remember?
Jen. Go ahead.
Oh, I was asking. Do you remember about what year that was?
Yeah, that was in 2009.
Okay, not too long ago. Okay.
Yeah, not too far ago. Yeah, and so I was there and listened to her set, and she played the song "Daddy," and I was surprised. And she said, "It's for my friend Mikey," and I was like, "Oh my god!" It's one of those moments where you're like, "This is so cool," that an artist
Yeah.
recognizes you and is a huge fan, and then so what I did for her was she went to go perform for 2 nights in a row down in Tacoma, Washington. So I drove down to Tacoma in a rental car and saw her perform at a casino there. It was called the Great American Casino, and her band Four More performed there for 2 nights. And I ran into one of her other groupies, and his name was Jeffro. He'd come from the Tri Cities. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
he was cool. Yeah, so we just hung out. And one of our other friends couldn't be there, uh, Danielle, but we I shot video of like the whole first night I was there. So I showed it to Danielle later and said, Danielle, this is your girl you like, Jennifer, and and all the songs and everything, and then Danielle started like singing on her own, and so she took her cue from Jennifer. I don't think she's made as much fame yet, but Jennifer's doing really well. I think right now she's just mostly working on Christian music genre. That's her thing. So, and she
Did
lives
you
over in.
ever move? Did you ever go through Seattle during like the '90s grunge thing, or was that?
No, 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 no. We went to Seattle when this was like in the way back. Oh, like it was like the mid '80s or something. No, we went through there before they had all the grunge with Nirvana and everything going on. Yeah, we weren't there. I wasn't there for that. I was there for later. Yeah.
I have to ask, like, that's still cool. Like they still have a thriving music scene, but
Yeah.
we tend to focus on that in pop culture. And I grew up on grunge. Really, that was like the shifting point for me because it was like I was listening to the Spice Girls and the Backstreet Boys, and then there was Nirvana, like all at the same time. So it's like
I know some of the boy bands I was like when I started singing in 1996, 97. I was trying to learn. Well, first of all, I was trying to learn some light rock bands that I heard growing up, like Styx and Journey, and I had a very high voice at the time. I could really sing high. I can't do it much now. I can't. But it was great because I was able to sing soprano and some falsetto and tenor and alto. But I could never get really low. That was the hardest part. So
right, yeah, it's a total shift going from that low to high too. You have to practice both, and
yeah, yeah,
I
it
think
is.
it's more natural to go for a high tone, although people who have like a very high, what like uh the word I'm looking for? Like an alto voice, I think, is
sure.
the yeah, like we tend to kind of glorify those guys, but you don't appreciate how much more difficult it is to shift pitch and especially down pitch.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
like singers that are able to go very deep, like Till Lindemann from Rammstein and Johnny Cash. Like those guys. Like you hear the breadth of their words. I don't know. There's something very impactful about it.
Yeah, or like the lower voices. I grew up with Barry White. You know, oh, my everything.
Right. Yes.
Very low stuff. Yeah, Barry White. I was really into Earth, Wind, and Fire, Heat Wave, uh, Cool in the Game, of course. What was the other one I was thinking of?
I think I
Sly and the
might have
Family
seen
Stone.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now that when you mentioned it, I was like, I know I saw Tower of Power, but I think I might have seen Earth, Wind, and Fire when I was much younger because they play around here a lot,
Yeah,
like even at the fairs and stuff like that, which is how I saw a lot of live music as a kid.
right. I did too. I mean, well, we saw. My parents took us to this one place, and we actually saw the Mamas and the Papas. That goes real back a long time ago back. But that's when they had Mackenzie Phillips, from One Day at a Time, and her mother, who used to be a part of the group, or still was, I guess. She was out there and trying to sing on the stage. She didn't do bad. I thought she did okay. But that was just, we just happened to catch them and when they were performing, and so that was cool. I had seen that, and the other thing too was, uh, like I told you, when I got to see Van Halen for the one and only time, Cool and the Gang opened for him,
Oh,
and
nice, nice.
yeah, and back in like the early '80s, it used to be Van Halen who was the ones that went open for Cool in the Gang. So that was quite a topsy turvy transition, and unfortunately, they were only down to the two brothers, that play the lead guitars in the band, but everybody else had passed away. So they had a brand new singer, lead singer and drummer and all that stuff.
That's
Yeah,
really
that
interesting, though.
was
They had that whole like funk rock mix thing going before the whole rap rock thing, right?
yeah, and I enjoyed. Yeah, now that you just mentioned that, thanks for mentioning that. The other thing I loved too was Parliament Funk. George
Okay.
Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the bomb. Yeah, he was great, awesome stuff. I used to listen to all that stuff. Uh,
Oh,
when Sting went solo, one of his first jazz guys he got was Branford Marsalis, and like I've heard Wynton Marsalis, his dad, so I was like, that was so cool. Seeing Branford perform with his sax and everything. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, some great bands, and you know, I mean, I think I like saying that, like, I got to see the Triumvirate. I got to see Brian Adams in concert. I got to see Rod Stewart in concert, and then I got to see Sting, and they did that all for Love Song together, all three of them. So I said I've
do you
seen all three of them.
do you have a favorite? Like, can you pick one that was like the most moving show that you've seen, or
I have to say that Sting is my favorite singer because he's done everything. The only genre of music he hasn't attempted is polka. And I swear to God, if he would do something with Weird Al Yankovic, like even a couple songs, he doesn't even have to do an album. If he does a couple songs, I'd be so impressed. I mean, it would just, because he's done just about everything else. So
Sting and Weird Al? That would be quite a mashup right there. I don't
I'd
like.
love that though, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I honestly don't think that Weird Al has ever done any Sting songs. Honestly,
No, I can't recall one. No.
no, not one. And I was just like, well, damn it, it needs to happen, man. I mean, come on, if Weird Al can sing with, what was that band he just did a song with? Uh, those guys from Beverly Hills.
Weezer?
Yeah, Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He just did Africa. He did a cover of Africa. Weird Al did with Weezer. I
Oh,
was
I
like,
didn't know he
wow.
was on that one. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's on that album. So I was like, wow. Okay, cover tunes they call it or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Weezer's good too. I like Weezer. Uh, when I was singing karaoke, like you were talking about the boy bands. I used to do NSYNC. I could do Backstreet Boys. Uh, you know, I could do. Oh, what was the other one? Well, I only named two, but I mean, there's a bunch of boy bands, and I could probably just sing harmony with them. So, which is
Yeah,
good
I
stuff.
mean, as a kid, I always thought Backstreet Boys like kind of took the cake for me. So I mean, that was the way I leaned. It was like NSYNC, they're okay, but Backstreet Boys was where it was at, and
Yeah.
I remember just karaokeing those songs all day, and then I
Oh,
wanted to
brother.
be one of those guys, and then all of a sudden I was like, no, I'm totally into rock now, and just shifted away from that, and it was
Yeah.
such a youthful phase, being into things like that. And then once you like start kind of analyzing the material and the songwriting, and then you just kind of get, I think
I
pop music, yeah, it's okay, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I know what you're saying. Oh, I wanted to ask you. Now, some people might give different answers, uh, but my by my estimation, I'd say that by the year 2000, I think that music lost a lot of its creativity, and I don't believe that there's really been any good hits since then, since 2000. Some people say though 1995 or maybe later. I don't know. For me, it's 2000. So that's a really long time to not have a creative song or band come out of there.
I
I
think
know there's been a few, but not
we
really.
tend to look at that year and it seems pretty significant, but what really happened was there was like a buildup over time where the internet started to take over, and the mainstream record labels and the radio kind of, they just adopted this let's just keep doing what we've always done approach.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have all these independent artists who are able to release on the internet. So as that gained traction, now half of the artists, they don't go to the labels anymore. They can release their own music and they don't have to worry about it. So it's like you can hear a lot of really good creative stuff, but you're not going to hear it on the mainstream radio. You've got to go and find it on social media platforms or on YouTube or something, because the
Absolutely.
artists are just releasing it themselves at this point, and it keeps growing that way.
Oh, sure, my friend. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the four musicians I know, Jennifer and a buddy of mine, PJ, Anne Marie, and then there's a guy named Tyler Booth also. Uh, does a form of country. These are guys and girls that have come out of nowhere, and they've taken hard roads. One of them tried out for The Voice, couldn't get on it. One tried out for American Idol, couldn't get on it. But that didn't stop them. They went ahead and started writing their own music, and now they're getting recognized. And like I said, one of them became a Grammy artist. Anne Marie. So I was like, I'm really happy for my friends. And then there's guys out there that are still performing with other bands. A good buddy of mine, Thaddeus, he's the son of Joni Sledge, of Sister Sledge, who passed away a few years ago, and he's sitting in his mom's place, and he's traveling all over Europe, with Sister Sledge. So
That's
there's a
awesome.
lot of people out there, yeah, and I'm very proud of them. And I'm not looking for fame myself. You know, I have two channels on YouTube, and one's a very old channel because it's called Warlord Fade channel, and I
Warlord Saint?
Warlord Fade, FEYD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's named after Fade Ralpha from the movie Dune, that was played by Sting, ironically enough. So I call it
Yeah,
Warlord Fade. Yeah, and it's a
got
cool
you.
channel. It's got some singing on there, some karaoke, and some stuff I put on there, and you know, and I did a lot of covers, and I even got in trouble once. I was telling Gorillaz. I told him I was singing a song, and I accidentally sang some lyrics that came from a band, which is copyrighted at the time, and I didn't know that, but I got put into a 2 week long period of what I called YouTube jail.
Huh.
For yeah, they wouldn't let me post any more videos, and I think for about almost a month, yeah, almost 30 days, and I had to swear I wouldn't use copyright anymore. They would just completely ban me, ban my channel, and erase it. So I had to be really careful, and well, luckily to say, knock on wood, I've been blessed and you know in good standing. That's what they call it.
Right.
Community
That's interesting.
guidelines.
Like, I've got a bunch of copyright strikes on my videos, and they've taken a couple of them down, but they have never stopped me from broadcasting or threatened to take my channel down or anything like that.
Yeah,
They're just like, we're just going to remove your video, or it's banned in certain countries, or whatever, and I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, I just leave it there. I don't care. It's
yeah.
just,
I'm trying to remember what the offense was. Okay, so I say something, and then there was a copyright strike. They said it came from Germany. So did I maybe accidentally sing a cover band in Germany that did the song or copyrighted it themselves? Or
well, yeah,
I
it
really
has to
don't
do
remember
with
what it
like
was.
where the song originates, right? Like, so,
Yeah,
for instance, like if you play an Iron Maiden tune on a stream, it's likely that you will be infringed on in the UK. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so you can count on that. But it's like there's other weird things. Like, I played a song on stream from a band called Real Big Fish. I believe
Wow,
they're from here in California. Anyway, they're a
wow.
US based band. Um, but reliably, so I got the copyright strike, and the video was banned in Russia of all places, which is like the most common one. It's almost always Russia that it has a problem with my music.
Yeah, mine was like I said, mine was banned in Germany. I said, "What the hell, Germany? Who's there?" I mean, like who was obviously somebody was from YouTube that must have been a representative of that country. Must have heard me sing and thought, "Well, wait a second, you're going against a copyright group that sings out of
Well,
Germany and maybe does the song." So, you know,
yeah, the problem is that the copyright law is so much different there. So as far as whatever they have going, so and that's the thing. If it's like German law, for instance, I mean, they banned all kinds of stuff like you wouldn't even think of, that they censor as potentially harmful speech, and they've been doing that
yeah,
since World War II, right? So,
right, right.
um,
I saw your title. It said lung butter. Where'd that come from?
oh yeah, it comes from years and years of smoking and destroying my body. Uh, it was a
Oh
term we used to
no!
use back in the day when we would smoke crystal meth, and
Oh
then you'd
no,
have
that's
really
bad.
bad congestion the next day, and you'd
Oh
say you'd
sure.
hawk up a big fat green loogie, and you'd say, "Oh, look, that's lung butter."
Oh
And
god.
so I've been doing that half the day today, and I just yeah, that was it.
So that's what that was. Lung butter. Okay. I guess I asked. That's all right, man. That's cool. Yeah. I like I said when I started all those years ago. Now it's been like, well, I guess. Well, let's see. It's been like 20 years, I guess. I really stopped at around 2016. I was still living back in Arizona, and Suzanne was with me after we just got married in April of that year, 2016, and I was just doing. I think that was probably the last of my karaoke's I was doing around the state, or at least around that part of the city. Where we were living in Scottsdale, which is like east of Phoenix, and there's like 3 different places I could go to and go sing and do stuff. So that was pretty much the last year that I really sang, and it was fun because you know I think around that time we were maybe planning to move back here to Canada and retire together and live out our lives and stuff. and some of my friends were like, "Oh man, we're gonna miss you." And I we had one of the last times I sang. Like I said, my one of my best friends, Thaddeus Sledge, is singing for his mom and sister Sledge. Well, one night they came to the bar. It was called 92nd Street Cafe, and a bunch of the relatives and stuff came by because Thaddeus was doing a show, and so Thaddeus asked me to do his mom's song, "We Are Family," and so me, Thaddeus, and then we had a buddy of ours named Adam come up to help, and we did three-part harmony, and the whole place just erupted. And some of the
Awesome.
relatives, they were dancing in the aisle and stuff, and one of the guys came up to me after, and he says, "Oh, I'm so glad you did that for Joni because she would have loved it." I said, "Look, Mister, I didn't remember his first name, but let's just say it's like Mr. Sledge or her brother." And I said, "Look, she was channeling through me. I could not have done this without her. There's no way." And they said, "Oh, you gave yourself too little credit. You did just a great job." And I swear I sounded just like Joni. I was like, "Thanks, Joni." I just pointed to heaven and said, "Thanks, lady. I appreciate it." And she was just such a great lady. I used to work for Safeway, so I'd be my cashier, and Joni would come in because she used to live in the neighborhood, and I said, "Joni Sledge, wow." I said, "Sister Sledge, that's cool." And she said, "Wow, how'd you recognize me?" I said, "Well, it's your voice, your singing voice." I mean, she's just talking normal, and I could not recognize her voice from anywhere. And I just, we were talking about her son Thad, and how well and talented he is, and she said, "I hope he gets to sing in my band because I want him to sing with."
Yeah, I mean, and you got to
But
learn how to take a compliment.
yeah,
Well, I'm sure
well,
you have by now, but
you
when it comes to that, um, no, I really miss performing, and yeah, anytime you receive that
I know, I know. Well,
appreciation for your voice, just accept it.
what's oh well, yeah, but just appreciate. No, yeah, they were just appreciating my voice, but I got standing ovation in three different towns. Uh, Downtown, Old Town Scottsdale, in a place called the Venue. My voice got a standing ovation. I went to Las Vegas. I sang for a buddy of mine there at one of the casinos, and I got a standing ovation. It was right off the strip. It was so cool. Then the other place I got an ovation was over in Laughlin, Nevada. I went to this Elvis Presley museum, and I was there for like 6 hours. And then afterwards, and this was in the Laughlin's version of the Flamingo, casino and hotel, and I got to sing on stage, and I did an Elvis song, and everybody went, ape crazy and gave me a standing ovation. So that was so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the best feeling. Not
Yeah,
just people like clap and whatever. Like if people are dancing when you're
oh yeah,
performing.
yeah.
You can really get a vibe off of that. It
Do
I
you
would
do you
say
get a
it
lot of
affects you as much as like a drug, or maybe even
yeah?
more.
Do you get a lot of people that dance for you when you play with your band and stuff?
Yeah, so we were into the hard rock stuff, so there would usually be like slam dancing or mosh pits or something like that. So that's the kind of energy you'd get. And the younger the crowd, the more energy and the more you feel like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Did your band have groupies? Did you have groupies? People
I
that would
never
follow
really
you?
had groupies. I had I've always been in relationships, well, prior to now, but I mean in the past when
Yeah.
I was doing gigs, I was pretty much always in relationships. I had one instance we're at a bar in Concord, and we played there pretty regularly. But
Yeah.
I had already been groped by one girl that night, and my
Oh.
ex was there, my son's mother,
Oh no.
and she got upset about that. And I said, "Well, what do you want me to do? Like, She said, well, you should tell her to stop. I was like, well, she held my package and she walked away. And,
Oh
like, what am I
man.
going to do? She wanted to fight her and stuff. So I had to break up all that. And then
Oh
it's the end
man.
of the night, and I went to go take a leak. And a girl tried to follow me into the restroom. And I
Wow.
kindly said, oh, no, I'm sorry, like, thank you, but I'm taken. It was a different girl.
Oh man.
But I have never heard. I think I still would probably be hearing that story to this day if I were with my ex. Like she'd be like, "Remember that time that girl tried to follow you into the bathroom?"
Oh man. That's so crazy, dude. That's
But it was
nuts.
just some random Concord chick that I had never met before. Like,
Oh right, right. Yeah, I don't think that like I said, Bobby Cook's band was the most prominent one I got to sing with for a number of years, and I don't believe we really had so-called groupies. I think what it was just people that liked to follow us from venue to venue. We did a lot of small gigs, but you know, the venue, which is the place there in Old Town Scottsdale, it was like the hugest auditorium that we actually played together as a group and did that for a couple nights, and we had a lot of our previous followers that had come with us through thick and thin, all these different bars and things, and they came out to see us, and right up there at the front, and we waved to them, salute them, and we even thanked them for coming this way, and being here for us, and that actually was my best paycheck.
right.
We didn't get paid much. Yeah, we didn't get paid much, but that was my best paycheck. I really enjoyed that. Plus, I made a lot of money that week from my other job. So yeah,
So when
that
you
was
say
cool.
groupies, I have to kind of clarify a little bit because I did have female fans of me, regardless of what act I was in, right? And so
Yeah,
there were a couple different instances of that. There was one promoter, and these are usually like women that I meet who do show promotion. And one promoter I ended up having a falling out with. My friend at the time who was there proposed that she was mad because essentially I didn't take her up on because she had tried to come on to me, and again I was in a relationship, so I was like,
wow.
no, you're cool, but I'm not going there with you. And then when things went south between us, my friend said she was just mad because you wouldn't bang her. And I was like, okay, I didn't really think about it that way, but all right. And then the second time, I ended up in a relationship with a woman who was also doing a radio show and show promotion, and she ended up booking my band on several occasions, and that was my last long term relationship. And
Wow.
she was friends with the other chick I was just talking about, right? Like all these
Yeah.
people came from the same circle. And then I got involved with another woman who's still my friend. Um, but it was like kind of the same deal. She was like, "Well, I will book your bands at all these clubs, but I want to, have extracurricular activities with you." And at some point that became awkward, and I was like, okay, so I don't like to see it as groupieage. Like, I see it as attraction to me, and it
Yeah.
just kind of happens to coincide with the music I do. I That's how I met these people. But
Yeah. When
but
I worked, yeah, I think I might. I don't know if I told you this before, but when I used to be with Bobby's group early on, I mean, when he first like really started it out, uh, he co-owned this restaurant bar with a friend of his, uh, who actually became his silent partner. That's what Bobby wanted to do, was be the silent partner for this thing. And so he used to have me host a show one night a week, which was usually on a Sunday night, or sometimes he'd have me do it 2 nights a week, and I would go in and make an extra paycheck or two for Wednesday night. And when we used to have the band there was this one gal who like hung around the restaurant sometimes, and she actually heard me do my show on a Sunday night, and her name was Beth, and she just kind of like listened to my show a couple times, and and then she came up to me and said, "I really like your voice, and I really like to hang out with you." And I was like, "Oh, come on, you gotta be serious! Like, I got stuff to do. I'm busy all the time. I didn't really want to think about a relationship per se, but well, suffice to say, you know, I had a day off one time, so after I did one of my shows, I said to her, "Well, okay, but that didn't turn out well, so I
You're
don't
like
want to do
under
much more of it."
duress.
I Yeah, I was under duress. Yeah, I got I got hit on upon her, and I didn't resist, and so but I was a good boy, but that didn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never heard from her again after that. So yeah, it was pretty bad. That's the only one bad experience I had. I had other girls, I had other gals who would come up and say, "Please, would you sing back up for me? Please do this," because they knew I could sing like high voice and stuff. So, we just lost Trusty. I'm the only one here in the stream. Oh no, what happened? Trusty. Oh, there you are. What happened, man?
I do apologize. I just, yeah, obviously lost connection. I'm back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was worried, man. Yeah. No, I mean, but we, like you said, you had followers. We had followers. They come see us, and occasionally, like I said, some of these, you know, followers were actually, a few were women, and they were really good singers. And every once in a while they would ask us guys to, you know, come and sing backup for them and play instruments for them. And those were the fun times. I really enjoyed it that I could like be able to sing very high voice harmonies. Well, with a bunch of gals that were coming in for like a birthday party or something, and they want me to sing along to help them out. Yeah,
Yeah.
just fun. Yeah, just a lot of fun. We had people like that, but yeah, I don't think we even had. You know what? It's kind of cool, but I don't think we ever had like rowdy guys that would cause a scene or a fight or anything. I don't think we ever had that problem. We were actually a very you know cool band, and I think people appreciated our voices and our instrument playing, and yeah, we never had a problem, so that was good. That was cool.
That's good. I mean, it's good to have especially if you know your crowd. It's like because when you're playing out, sometimes you just never know who you're gonna run into. I remember playing a show in Vallejo, California, and I was packing out, and at the end of the night, he was a skinhead. He had like neo-Nazi tattoos or whatever,
Oh
and
yeah.
and so I have a couple songs that are like sexually suggestive, and they're not even sexually suggestive. They just talk about the penis.
Oh jeez.
So he goes, "Well, I like your band, but I'd much rather if you sung more songs about pussy and less songs about dick." And I said, "Well, my songs are about my dick getting pussy, so I don't know what to tell you." And he was like,
you
"Oh,
really had
whatever." He just
someone.
walked him.
You really had someone like that. That's insane, brother.
Yeah.
That's just yeah. That's just nuts. Yeah. No, what was oh, one of the coolest meets I ever had. I think I might have said this once to you before, but it was I was doing a show for a buddy of mine, and in comes Mark Grace, who used to be a player, ball player for the Chicago Cubs, and also played for the Diamondbacks. He won his World Series ring with the D-backs in 2001 against the Yankees. So that's how not only that, but I've been following his career since he played for the Cubs, and I see him walk into the bar and he's getting a drink, whatever, and he put in a song, and I was like, "Whoa, Mark Grace is gonna sing!" I'm like, and I was so scared because like I did I didn't even know that ball players could actually sing, but I played his song, and he actually sang it well, and I was like, wow. I was like I said, I didn't even realize a ball player could sing. This guy was great, you know. And
Oh
it
yeah.
kind yeah, Mark Grace, and I was like, I kind of ran into him a couple more times, you know, down the line, and yeah, you know, and only his best friends are allowed to call him Gracie. So, you know, after that first time I met him a second. I ran into him a couple more times. I said, "Hey Gracie," and he says, "Hey Mikey, what's up?" And I was like, "Damn, Gracie, what's up?" He says, "Oh, you know, man, you know, I'm here to sing. Whatever. Do you want a drink?" He always offered me a drink. He was so nice. You know, offered me a beer or something. I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. I'll have some." You know, so we'd hang out. We got drunk together one night, and you know, sang a bunch of tunes. And I think we were the only two decent singers in the entire place. Nobody else could sing. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah, he was a good buddy. Yeah, I miss him. He's a good friend of mine. So yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, ball players are one, baseball, well, any type of, athlete, that you think of, but especially baseball players are just, they have such a diverse array of interests. Like my cousin plays ball, and, he's like an older brother to me almost. So I've just seen the progression throughout his life where he was on the semi pro thing, and he did, what is it? National League,
Yeah,
where he was playing, for other countries and stuff like that. But he's always been into producing music and just totally other things. He's got such a wide range of interest, because it's like I always feel like with some people there's like nothing you can talk about but stats and scores and baseball, and it was like with my cousin it's not like that. It's like I know he's focused on baseball, but we could talk about everything else, and he's just got so much perspective on it. But he applies it all back to the game,
yeah.
and it's a
Oh, of
weird
course.
mentality.
Yeah,
Like,
of course. Yeah,
uh,
there's a basketball player you might know, Charles Barkley, Chuck. Yeah, Chuck.
oh yeah, I remember Charles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Sir Charles, this was just after he had played for the Phoenix Suns. So he was just getting ready to, you know, he got called up by Houston, so he was going to go play for the Rockets. And I went to this place, which I guess they call it now Eli's, but back then it was Farrell's. It was sort of a party place. So you go there for a bar and do parties and things like that. And it had a dance floor. And I just walked in there one night, and there's Charles Barkley with his entourage over at a table, and you know, I just wanted to shake his hand. I didn't need his autograph or anything, you know, and I just walked over and I said, "Hey, Sir Charles, how are you?" And he says, "Who are you, man?" And I said, "Oh, well, Mikey. You can call me Mikey." He said, "Well, that's cool, man." He says, "Come on, why don't you sit with us?" And I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, I'll get you a drink." So, got me a beer. We just sat down and we shot the shit for like 2 hours. and
Wow,
and the
that's
guy,
awesome.
and we just talked about pretty much everything. Like, I was so pissed because he got, you know, because he was taken out of the Suns and moved. And I said, "Damn it, Charles!" I said, "You know, who was it that like kicked you out of the team?" You know, and he says, "Well," he says, "the management didn't, you know, because we lost to the Bulls that one year that we tried to win in the finals, we lost to them." And then, like the following year, they said that my skills had diminished. He says, "My skills haven't diminished." He says, "They just weren't happy with me and they didn't want to pay my salary anymore. So I decided to move to the Houston Rockets." I said, "Good for you, man. I hope you get your title." Well, he still never got his ring. but but you know, but he was just so cool. And well, he was supposed to be married at the time. And I did ask him, "Well, you know, where's your wife?" And he said, "Well, she's cool. She has some friends over." So I told her I'd go out tonight, and she was cool with it. So I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad. I didn't realize your wife was such an understanding woman." He says, "You don't know the truth, son." He says, "You don't know the truth." I said, "Okay, I don't want to know." I just kept that to, yeah, I just let him keep that to himself. I didn't want him to say much more, but, like I said, he was there with a bunch of people, and, maybe one or two of them were probably his security, for him, but I thought that was so cool that he would let me, join his group and, talk, about stuff and everything for a few hours. I thought that was cool. I never forgot that either, and, he said, "Well, Mikey," he says, "make sure you look for me in the NBA, playing and stuff." I said, "Always, Charles." And of course, I watch him when he does the Inside the NBA for TNT. They just stopped because the finals are playing now. But yeah, I used to just watch him, and he still lives in Phoenix. I guess he's got a home in Phoenix somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's got to be an interesting position to be in, being like a public figure like that who is so well recognized. Probably got people approaching him, everywhere he goes, and to decide who
every
you're going to let sit at your table. I mean, that's just something about you.
yeah, and
Obviously
that's
your
another yeah.
approach was smooth enough. He wasn't like, oh, this person's a weirdo,
Oh
and
no, 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 and you know what? He like I said, it was a dance hall we were in, so I watched him on the floor a few times with some ladies, and man, he can dance. He's got moves. I mean, he's an African American. He's got moves, and I'm a white boy, and I don't even know how to dance. I'm terrible. I can't dance worth shit to save my life, man. Or I couldn't back then, but I'd watch Charles go out there. I was like, wow, yeah, this dude's like, dance and have a good time. And I said, I can't dance, dude. He said, it's all right, man. Most white boys can't. And I agreed with him. I didn't think he was insulting me. I was like, that's cool. I can't do that, but I can drink though. He says, well, that's fine, no problem. Yeah, he was so cool though. Was good about it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's so
It's
awesome.
it's one of my favorite stories. I love talking about Chuck. Only like it's one of those things where only friends can call him Chuck, and he says, "That's what look. You call me Chuck, and I'll call you Mikey." And I said, "Okay, deal."
Oh, he don't like being called Charles, huh? Okay, got
No,
that.
no, he's not a big deal on that. No, so yeah, if you're nice enough to him, he'll just say, "Call me Chuck." And I'm saying like, "Yep,
Right.
Chuck, no problem." Yeah, yeah, he was cool. Uh, There was another basketball player I met. Uh, his name was Dan Marley. He used to play for the Phoenix Suns. He used to shoot 3-pointers like nobody's business. And I actually played him in a pickup game one time, and that was fun. And I went to one of his restaurants. Actually, I went to one of his restaurants twice. The first time, unfortunately, was with my soon-to-be first ex-wife, and he recalled the time I played 5-on-5 with him, and we reenacted the scene what happened, and he says, "Yeah, Mikey, that was fun." I said, "Yeah, Thunder Dan, it was cool." He says, "You are one of the few people allowed to call me that, right?" I said, "Yeah, I know." That's when he went by Thunder Dan Marley. Yeah. Then I went to his brand new one of his brand new restaurants over by myself over in upper northern Scottsdale, and I wanted to meet him to see him again, but he wasn't there. But I ran into one of his best bartenders, and I told him, "Make me a drink," and I called it an IRA, and it consisted of creme de menthe uh, and Bailey's Irish cream, and it had a dollop of whipped cream right on top. It's supposed to
Oh
be a
yeah.
mind, yeah, it's supposed to be a mind chaser and a mind eraser. Yeah, that's what Suzanne said, and which is true. And so this bartender lady made it for me, and I said, "Damn, that's smooth." I had like two that day, but I made sure I ate food because otherwise you get in trouble if you drink that thing and don't eat. So yeah, she made me a couple of those smooth drinks. I really enjoyed that. So yeah,
That's
that was
funny.
one.
So now I've learned two things now. But that there is a song about that drink by a band called Them Crooked Vultures, consisting of John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin, David Grohl of the Foo Fighters, and Josh Homme of the Queens of the Stone Age. And they have a song called Mind Eraser, No Chaser. And
That's it. That's it. That's the drink. I discovered it myself.
I haven't had any like really a lot of significant celebrity meetups, like I was saying earlier, like with musicians or athletes, as much as I'm in those circles. What's weird though, I did meet Chuck Yeager, the guy who broke the sound barrier,
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
and I used to have a plaque. I lost it long ago, but a plaque that he signed because I had to co-pilot a single engine plane, and he like officiated it. So I had no clue what the significance was at the time until like years later. I was like, oh, that's that guy. Watching documentaries and shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I got to meet him and shake his hand when I was a kid, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Did you ever get to see the Thunderbirds fly? The Thunderbirds? Did you ever get to see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Thunderbirds?
and the Blue Angels, I think. Yeah.
Blue Angels. Yeah. The Thunderbirds, they were flying the Blue Angels. I got to meet one pilot. It was at an air show they were doing in the early days when I first moved out there to Arizona, and just a kid, you know. We went to this place called Deer Valley Airport, and they were flying the Blue Angels, and some of the kids, including myself, got to meet one of the pilots. It was very cool, though. I mean, I was so amazed by how many loops they were doing and different stunts in the air, and I was just wow, it just blew me away. It was just totally cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the Angels out here a couple of times. And yeah, it never ceases to amaze. I'm always like, okay, now I'm like environmentally conscious. Like we're wasting a shit ton of fuel just for these aerial shows, but it's still really amazing to watch.
Yeah, that environmentally sound. Well, that's the reason they waste a lot of fuel because, you know, thankfully we're not in wartime, so nobody's like, shooting at each other. And I don't know, did the Blue Angels just recently get a woman pilot as part of their group? Because it was usually always
I
men. I
I
thought it was
didn't
all
hear
men.
about that, but I mean, I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if they got a naval pilot that was a woman for their group. I heard a rumor, but I don't know if that was true. That would have been cool if it is. I mean, they got a woman in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see why not. I mean, there are plenty of female pilots, and I'm sure they're skilled enough, so they should just open the door. But
Well,
you
yeah,
don't like.
yeah.
I think that group's like something you really have to try out and audition for. You know what I mean? Like you have to really
Oh,
be
sure.
dedicated to it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Um, well, we've already had, like I said, I know they have women pilots because uh, they've had women astronauts and they've had women engineers, you know, women that actually, become sergeants in the army, and you know, and Marines. There's some women Marines that are, totally badass. I've seen them, so yeah, yeah. It's impressive just to be able to see all the cooperation of men and women just fighting for our freedom and everything. It's very cool. So, do you have any of your bands, any of the bands that you play for coming up? Any gigs that you got coming up?
I'm
Trustee?
sorry. Could you repeat that?
Oh, yeah. No, I was just asking, do you have any gigs that are coming up? Any bands that you still play for?
Oh no, no. I'm supposed to do a rehearsal on Monday, but that's it. We haven't practiced for months, and we keep talking about it, but no, like nothing big going on here. I do have a former bandmate of mine who does metal shows in Crockett, which is just uh, south of Vallejo, across the Kirkenes Bridge.
Okay.
And so he's doing some pretty good shows, but I'm doing like promotion on Facebook for those, not so much here.
So are you're just doing some promotional stuff for him?
Yeah, I just like to support him, because he's been around the scene for a long time. So he was previously a bass player in my band and a guitarist. I replaced him as guitarist in the band I'm in now.
Oh
But he's a
wow.
great dude, and he was always like a kind of a older brother figure to me and stuff.
Yeah, that's totally cool, dude. Yeah, yeah, you were there for my James Bond, my very first live stream, weren't you? I thought I saw you.
Yeah, I was in there for a bit. I was kind of in and out. I think I had dealing with other stuff, but
Yeah, that
yeah, caught a bit of that.
yeah, that was fun. I appreciated you definitely being there for me, brother. And I saw my friend Jay and Daniel's Hot Topics were there. John DeMarco was there. I got Gorillas was I think he came in last minute after he got home from work. And
Yeah, he was
President Germ was there and everything. Yeah. So
getting all
yeah, it was
wacky in the side chat.
ghetto
I saw
wacky.
that.
Yeah, but it was so cool. And then I got a post from Nemesis of Eden. He said, Mikey, he says, I'm sorry I missed the show, but I watched it. He said it was so good. And, told me his choices for the questions I gave Jay and Daniel. And that was so much fun. And
Yeah, it was great.
yeah. And
Like,
I don't, in my next stream, will probably come, I hope, within the next 2 weeks for sure. Um, I still haven't decided what I'm going to do my next stream on. Really, uh, I've been getting some ideas. Somebody said I should do it on Harry Potter. Somebody else said I should do it on the. I'm trying to think what else. Uh, some we have seen recently, or have people come in. I really would like. Actually, I really would like to do my next stream on the next Indiana Jones movie that's coming out at the end of the month, June 30th, the Dial of Destiny. I want to go see the movie, and then give my own review and have a live stream run it. Run it and have people come in and give their views on it if they've seen it. That
oh,
sort of thing.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I just want to
That,
advise. I just had like a pretty major lag, so I missed a bit of what you said. I heard
oh. Okay. Well,
the
yeah.
I
Yeah. Go ahead. Go
um
ahead. Yeah.
so I heard, I mean, as far as stream suggestions go and stuff like that. No, I think the new movie review is a great idea, and that's something you should go with. Um, but I just in between even opening up kind of little open rooms like this, might be beneficial for you if if you have the time to devote to it. Just a couple hours and just kind of let anybody hang out could be a cool thing too. You
Yeah.
never know where people are going to lead you in conversation, so don't try to think about it or plan it too hard. If you have
Sure.
a thing you want to do that, but you could just have an open room and say, hey, we'll discuss whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea, Trusty. I was thinking that I might just go ahead and pull a surprise room like you did. Maybe once or twice, and just kind of pull it out there and say, hey, this is just a random room, and come on in and you know have a discussion, and if I plan a surprise like that, I'm sure enough going to get some people just want to come in and say something, and that's fun too because I like talking about different topics and you know things on the day and what's going on and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, as far as your last one, I think you all did a great job, and I'm just always amazed, like when I see people who are just super knowledgeable about certain elements of like film and literature and things like that, where like I can't keep track of all this stuff. I know what you guys are talking about, but I just can't keep track of the details like that. My memory is not that keen, or I've
Yeah,
devoted it to other things, But I find it interesting, and it's just a great wealth of knowledge, when you get into the lore of something like
exactly.
James Bond or
Oh, same here.
you know.
Yeah, I was like I was sad because at first I know I planned it, so far ahead of time. But then, how things happen, for a reason. And I said, well, my wife was going to go do some shopping and for us and errands. And I said, well, you know what? Why don't I just do it now? And then I find out I did the right thing because next week my building is going to have fire drills and they're going to go on all week long from like Monday through Friday, from the morning to like 5 in the afternoon. And if I had tried to do my bond thing on the 7th, like I planned on doing, it would have been interrupted constantly by fire drill alarms and everything. So things, like I said, things happen for a reason. So yeah, I apologize that it was last minute, but then it turned out well. So I was thankful. I was thankful it worked that way. So I may, like I said, I may just go ahead from here on out. Whenever I got the time and availability to do it, I'll just put out a stream and just say, "Hey, come to my stream." We'll have some fun.
Yeah, I encourage you to do that. And fire alarms are not, generally conducive to live streams, but I've seen it happen before. I've seen people live stream through the fire alarm going off repeatedly. So I mean, you could still do that, but probably, not preferable.
Yeah, we had. Well, you're in California, aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
you're in
Northern California. I'm
California.
in the Bay Area.
Yeah, in the Bay Area, right? Well, there was an earthquake. Our friend Tokyo Trekker, I guess he's over there in Japan, and they had an earthquake. They said they felt it over in California, but not sure where. He said it was a 4.6.
Yeah, they say that all the time, and I'm like, I don't feel shit. But apparently, like, the ground is always shaking over here, so we're just used to it. We just don't, like, realize that we're having minor earthquakes, like, all the time. And it's like, what was that? Oh, no, this is normal.
I was worried. That's that's all. I was just worried because I've been in a few earthquakes myself, and you know you don't like to have the movement. It's weird. This one year I was working in a hotel for a hotel company, DoubleTree Hotels and Resorts, and this is a 12-story building which is in Phoenix, near downtown Phoenix, Arizona. And this was during 1994, and they were having the earthquake over in Northridge, outside of LA, and they said the aftershocks could be felt as far away as Phoenix and Tucson. And I actually got through one of those aftershocks. It was so
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
we had an earthquake. Um, it was in Southern California a few years ago, like in San Diego or LA, somewhere way down there.
yeah,
Um, and it was so large, wherever it took place, basically it shook up all the way up to the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was in Sonoma at the time, which is far North Bay, where like you would think, okay, by that point it would have been, but no, it was actually really severe in that region. It ended up, shaking things off the walls and stuff like that. It was pretty scary, but it wasn't even a local quake. That was all aftershocks from the it was in Mexico or Southern California or something like that.
yeah, it was down south. So the only way to let's see. So Sonoma, yeah, wine country. So the only way that I think you could have suffered that was that those shocks must have traveled up the San Andreas Fault because that's where Sonoma crosses into one part of the fault area there. So that's probably why you felt it because you're in the Sonoma wine country. So
Yeah, well, that's where I was. That's not where I am now, but that's where I was back then.
and
Yeah,
where are
I've
you
got
at?
I've got family out there all along the coastline, so
Yeah,
like it.
and where are you again? Because we have a friend of ours, pop culture curator. He lives over in San Leandro, so I know he lives like on the other side of the bay there now. I was trying to
Yeah, I'm
think
a hop. My place is like a hop, skip, and jump from there. I'm in San Pablo.
San
So
Pablo.
other
Yeah,
side of the East Bay, venturing towards the other end. But
yeah,
right now I'm in Novato, which is just north of San
Novato.
Francisco, and
Yes,
Sausalito and all of that,
yeah.
which is where I have family here. So I come to stay here frequently. My car is trapped here, so but it's a beautiful place to be trapped. So I
Yeah,
have no complaints.
yeah. Are you able to? What is your car indisposed now, or are you still able to drive into the city?
No, yeah, it's got a dead battery. I have to replace the battery, and then the sway arm or the stabilizer arm on the back is broken in half. So I have a replacement for that,
Yeah,
but I just haven't been able to put it on. I don't have the tools.
yeah. Do you live?
So it's
Yeah.
like I can drive it up and around the block, but the rear end starts swerving out like I'm fishtailing because those rear tires aren't in line.
Oh
So yeah.
no. Yeah, yeah. So do you take BART every once in a while? Do you take the BART? Is there a station near you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm forced. I'm actually gonna have to take BART tomorrow. I'm forced to take BART every week now. So,
Uh, BART train. Yeah, I had one time. I had my relatives. My mother's sister was still alive. She's gone now, but she one of her sisters was down in San Jose near Cupertino, and I went to visit a great aunt who was living in a nursing home up in the city, and I took the what they call it, the Caltrans, that huge train that like pulls up into the Embarcadero up there in San Francisco,
mm,
and went from Caltrans and took the BART, the Muni, well, I should say the Muni subway, over to where my great aunt was, and visited her, and then I took another Muni tram down to Great Ocean Way and US 1, and hung out at the beach there. And I wanted to go see the San Francisco Zoo, but it was getting late, and I had to get back, so I left there and then got back to the Caltrans and took the Caltrans home. And my mom's sister's husband was waiting for me and picked me up and took me back. So then I flew back out. Flew out of San Francisco airport. So yeah, it was nice to visit some family during that time. But man, that train, that train ride there and back was so cool. And I had forgotten how fun it was to ride those Muni trams, and I thought
yeah,
that
the
was
high
pretty
speed
cool.
rail is fun to ride. I just like with public transit, just it's the people on there. Sometimes, usually it's pretty cool, but every once in a while you get somebody who's just so obnoxious. I remember in
Yeah,
2020, just at
yeah.
the start of the pandemic, I ended up trapped in a subway tunnel on the BART going to San Francisco,
Oh no.
and I was like in uniform security guard, and I'm sitting at the end of the BART train, and this dude just lights up a cigarette in the middle of the train, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And we're all trapped in a tunnel, mind you. Like there
Yeah,
was a delay, so the train is stopped, and he was like,
yeah,
whatever, just lit up a cigarette. And yeah, I mean, I was so irritated. I could not believe that, and they had nobody to come respond to it. I was like, I was the only person saying anything.
Wow.
Um, but you get situations like that. It's like, whoa, man! Like some people just do not care. Like, they do
They,
not
they
care.
they are rude as hell. Yeah. No, we've had instances where we come across up here in Toronto. I don't drive anymore, so what Suzanne and I do is we usually take a bus or we'll take what they call a light rail, an LRT for short. We take that for a short distance over to mall we hang out with called Scarborough Town Center, and then we ran on the Via Rail, to go down to Niagara Falls and stuff a few times. They let you off at this one place called Burlington, and then you take the a tram from or a train or a bus from Burlington, Ontario, down to Niagara Falls. So, someone just joined us, Trusty, my friend, Doc Fierso. Hi, Doc. What's up?
Yeah, Doc is a longtime friend. Peeps in occasionally. Uh, much
That's why he
like
has
Doc
the eye
Fearsome,
going. That's why
the
he has the thing.
all-seeing eye of Doc
Oh,
Fearsome
did
has
I?
arrived.
No. Yeah, I think that's why I was over at Jedi Bill's 797 his karaoke, and I did Semi Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. I think I know why they called themselves Third Eye Blind.
Oh, I love that song. Yes.
Yeah, and they gave me the extended one, with the plane crashing and the lyrics of the plane crashing and all that stuff. I said, yes, that's my favorite one is the extended version of the song. Because I used to sing that in karaoke, the extended version of it, and people are going like, "What lines are that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's about the plane crashing and all this other stuff." And it was just added stuff, added lyrics in there, and I love to sing that, and I sang that tonight, earlier or last night, and that was cool. So, hey Doc, what's going on? I was
I
just
was like,
asking.
should we do a cappella right now? Do
We
do
should.
do 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 do. Oh.
Private school through my nose. I can't remember all the lyrics. I gotta have the damn thing in front of me so I can actually sing it. Yeah, but it's so much fun in that. I want something else to get me through this every trunk kind of life, baby, baby. I want something else so that you can say goodbye. Yeah,
Goodbye.
I used to stretch it. I used to go goodbye, yeah, 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 but I used to do it in a really high voice. And some people going like, "What?"
No, he does. That's another like amazing vocal range right there. What, Stephen
Yeah,
Jenkins,
yeah,
the
Jenkins.
singer? Yeah, he has a
Yeah,
great vocal range. Yeah.
he does. He is. You know what? He's got this. I call it. I call it a contrafalsetto. It's really interesting. Because it doesn't quite sound like a straight falsetto. It's more of like a controlled falsetto. So when I call it contra, that means that it's just kind of like it's squeezed, but not squeezed enough that it just goes out. It's kind of squeezed into a little kind of its own octave. So it's really cool, and I mean he sings like that, and I was like, well, that's interesting because when I used to be in the church choir, I was in church choir for like 3.5 years. I got to sing. We had two girls that were altars, and I got to sing with them. Then I sang with a bunch of girls that were sopranos, and I sang with them. Then I got to do a falsetto with one and me and one other guy that could sing falsetto. So, and then of course I was with some girls and some guys that could sing tenor. So alto, soprano, tenor, falsetto, all of that stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, I did that in like school band in middle school. I was a bass player,
Oh, cool.
one of like 5 or 6, right? Because it was a big band. But we were doing rock tunes, but I got pretty pissed off because they had this really amazing female vocalist, right?
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of our songs they kind of cater to that. We were doing like Aretha Franklin and stuff like that.
Oh,
But then we
sure.
were doing Pink Floyd's The Wall, and I was like, "You need the male vocal." I could get in on this, and they were like, "No, no,
No,
we're giving
no.
it to," and the female vocalist got all the, she just, I was like, you can't have, I don't know, there's something off about having her do the lead vocal, but they wouldn't listen to me.
I know. I can't imagine uh, any, and I mean any female singer sounding like David Gilmour or or who was the other guy? Roger Waters.
Roger Waters, yeah.
Roger Waters. Yeah. Doc Pearson says, "Gods, my phone is lagging terribly."
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat there. So yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant phone streams from this channel.
And now the next phone stream. Yeah, you gave me an idea. I might I just throw a stream out there tomorrow on Sunday sometime. Just kind of, I gotta do it in between a couple of my friends' streams, where hopefully one of them is gonna run tomorrow. They call it a question of Trek. They're supposed to do that about 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, and then Gorillas and Resolute are doing a stream about uh, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Do you know that Gorillas has never seen any of the Indiana Jones films? Can you believe
That's
that?
ridiculous. Why?
I know.
Why?
I said, "What freaking cave were you in, dude?" He said the cave was so deep that he couldn't climb out of it unless he had to swim.
I call shenanigans. There's no way you can't have seen some part of the Indiana Jones series at this
of
point.
the franchise. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, like he came to my stream. I think you did too when I did the Indiana Jones franchise first, and I was talking about it. And of course, Brady Specs, Jeff was telling me something about it. He says, "Temple of Doom does not exist." He says, "I liked Raiders and I liked the Last Crusade." He says, "Temple of Doom, what's that? That didn't even exist." Or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull about the aliens. What's that? That doesn't even exist. I
Temple of
couldn't
Doom
stand
was
it.
the best though. In my opinion, just compared to all the rest, just the cinematography, the way I think that you cannot match that as far as just good filmmaking.
I
Like
agree.
as far as action films go, like dramatically, okay, you could critique a lot, but I mean they really nailed that one.
Right.
It's captivating.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's ironic is that uh, I I enjoyed parts of it. Well, I would be telling Brady and like some of the other guys who were in my chat. I didn't have the live stream set up yet, but I could read all the people in the chat that I was doing the webcam from, and and so it was kind of like a stream, but not really. It was just me talking and discussing. But somebody or Brady was telling me about the minecart scenes and stuff, and I said, well, for action, I thought the minecart scenes were awesome, and you know, we were we went to Universal Studios with my family one time, and went through the Battlestar Galactica exhibit and interactive and Jaws and all that stuff. And they had recently set up a Indiana Jones, and I thought the mine carts were awesome. I thought it was great, and so but uh, I told him, I said I thought the movie was dark, and it was, but what I think they should have done is do the raid or do the Temple Doom first, then do Raiders, and then do Crusade, and then go off and make the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull if you want to do that. But
Yeah. You're talking about the theme park ride, right?
Yeah, the theme park
Yes.
ride.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I remember going through that one, and it was a good experience. That was so. It seems so long ago for me. I guess I'd get
And me too. I'm
a bit
old.
younger, but
I'm old. Oh, what was that?
and
What
and
was
and
that,
Doc,
dog? Oh, go ahead.
to I just have to say to Doc, I'm sorry to hear about your iPhone, and I hope it gets better. But don't trust Bill Gates, because he's raising child sex slaves on Mars.
Yeah, that's what we heard. I think Elon Musk was gonna take robots and put them in charge of Twitter. He's gonna get
Oh,
rid of all.
they're already running the thing. Yeah,
That's what I
there's
mean.
no real humans in at Twitter
At all.
Inc.
Yeah,
anymore. Yeah,
yeah. He's got super computers running the whole damn show. I know this to be true because I've watched like some Twitter streams, and they just do not look like a human being is actually controlling them at all, or is like watching them or anything. It's
it's
just
becoming so much more like Facebook. Like every time I get on there, like and I appreciate I've got new Twitter followers. I need to thank, but every time I get on there, it's more and more like Facebook. There's just so many more ads and more crappy suggested posts, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? Like, this was the only
I
safe
know.
space, and it's not safe anymore.
Well, you know where it started, I believe, was with Google because Google, you're looking for something, and they give you these trending searches, and I'm like, this is not stuff I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for, and it's definitely not something you're trending to me. And Twitter would be trending, stuff, and Facebook trends stuff, and they put out ads, and you're like, no, I don't want to see the ad. YouTube does the same thing. uh, and then now, just recently, I heard they were like breaking into Discord, breaking into Rumbler, Tumblr, and all these things, and they're starting to put things there. And I'm like, but I thought those places were nice, you know, private gatherings where you can go and do stuff. But now that's not the case for anything, any of them. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we need to be well insulated here, and I'm not talking about the heat. Um,
yes, I know. And there's the. Have you been to LDG Free the Nets Underground? Have you been there?
where?
It's LDG Free the Net. He's a guy, he runs this place called the Underground, which is part of StreamYard, but it's like a nice place where people can hang out. But yeah, I'm waiting for the day that somebody's going to discover it. Because I really don't want to give the address here, but
Yeah, no, don't do that. No.
yeah, no. But yeah, it's supposed to be a nice place to hang out. If you talk to Gorillas and Resolute, they'll send it to your email or something, send you LDG's chat with the Underground, and you should check it out. It's kind of nice out there, or nice in there, I
Oh,
guess.
the web address. I thought you were talking about like a personal address. So I was like,
No,
don't dox people, please.
no,
Okay,
no,
no.
no, no, no. I was talking about the web. I was talking about the website address. Since you know Gorilla and Resolute, I'm just
Yeah,
relying
yeah.
on you to talk to them and ask, ask about the LDG Free the Net Underground, and they'll give you the address to the link, and then you can check that out because that's cool.
Cool.
They got some cool people there. Yeah, Doc. So yeah, I read what my friend Trusty did here. All I have is an iPhone. It's been rather laggy lately. Yeah, I totally understand that. What's that other thing he said? Yo, but I don't want.
Yeah, but I don't want any sex slaves of any age. I'm in it for the Jewish space lasers. I especially, yeah, I appreciate the Hebrew beams. They're just emanating across the universe, melting whatever they come across. I just, yeah.
Well, my one of my best friends I told you about, Jennifer. She does some Christian music genre, but she just recently converted to Judaism. So she's Jewish. Her husband's Jewish, and her daughter Ziv, spells it Ziv, is also Jewish. So
Did they go like super orthodox, or are they just like observant Jews?
Observant Jews, because she was at one time. Jennifer was, well, she was born in Sweden, and her mother was Catholic, or her father was Catholic, and her mother was Orthodox, and and then after a while they separated. So uh, I guess it was over time that Jennifer, I guess, lost faith in Catholic, practices and so forth. So she converted herself to Judaism and got reborn and everything. So I'm happy for her. I realize she went through a lot. So you know, I understand. And my sister, I have two sisters, and one of my sisters is married to a Jewish man, and he's a doctor, and does lectures and things like that. And also he's a pediatrician, and my sister's strict Roman Catholic, so I totally understand. He's a good man too, so yeah, I have nothing against
Everybody
Jewish
needs
people.
some reason to do what they're doing, right? Like I think that's kind of the the baseline there. It doesn't matter what faith you believe in, as long as the faith you believe in helps you help yourself and other people, right? Like it really doesn't matter.
No, as long as you're respectful. If you can respect someone else's beliefs, I think you're actually a better person for it. That you respect them, whatever they believe in. It's you don't complain, you don't berate their belief. It's their own belief system. That's what they believe in. So yeah, you respect it and say, okay, uh, just as long as you're not enforcing your beliefs on me, and as long as I don't try to force my beliefs on you, I think we'll be okay. you know, I guess that's why they say you can't really talk about religion or taxes or death or or other things. I guess.
Well, I think death and tax is the one thing we can all, the two things we can all agree on, right? There's two things, but there's certain there are death and taxes. Everything else in between is kind of that area we don't want to bring to the dinner table.
Yeah, and I know my dad reminded me. It's like, don't talk about politics at any table, whoever you're with, and don't discuss religion if it's at all possible. Unless somebody's threatening you with death or something. If you don't follow them, something like that. So yeah.
Well, we do it all the time over here, though. I try to host religious debates of whatever kind. So that's something I'm promoting as far as, just
Right.
content and stuff that I'm interested in doing. But, I would like people to still remain respectful even in debates, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. No, that's what I look forward to. Also, is I know that when I do future streams, I am gonna get maybe one or two people that are just gonna persons that are just gonna you know have something to say, and then they're gonna it might get a little crazy, and I'd be like, look, just just be polite and respectful. That's all I ask, in my future streams. That's all I asked in my streams and webcams was, be polite, and don't try to get people riled up, because it's just a waste of time, man. There's no point continuing if you're just gonna have a free for all, and everybody arguing and screaming at each other. It just doesn't quite work that way. So
Yeah, and it's not a productive way to have a conversation. Nobody learns anything,
right.
and the interlocutors just end up shouting at each other until the thing ends.
Yeah, exactly. I just think what it comes down to is, if you get something out of a stream or even conversation like this, and you get something you learned that you never knew before or something new, I think that's the best part, because then you're like, wow, so I can still learn something that I never knew about before, and then apply that to regular life, and if it works that way, and let it go. Let it out there, and yeah, that's the best part. Just having the and finding like I said, um, when I first talked to you, I thought this is definitely a like-minded dude. He's like, he's been there. He knows what you know he's gone through, and I know what I went through, and I was just like, I like that. I like-minded people like yourself, Trusty. I can talk to and hang out with, and there's a few people like that that are still on here, and they haven't kicked them off YouTube yet. I'm like, that's good. Don't do that, man. Yeah, yeah. We had this little kid. He's like 11 years old. Calls himself Trey the CN guy, and he was, he's only 11 years old. I mean, he's just acting like he's, all that, and he almost got Gorilla copyright struck from his channel because he was playing something in the background that you're not supposed to play, and without telling them about product placement or something like that. So, we tried to stop and say, "Hey, man, please shut it off, please." And he wasn't listening. So then, the Gorillas had to boot him out completely out of the stream because he wasn't listening. He was, Then he gets
Well,
all
that's the
upset at
problem with
us.
children. They never listen, right?
Yeah, and then he gets all upset at us. And I'm like, "Why, Trey? Why?" I'm like, "Dude, listen, just calm down. Look, you weren't supposed to do something. We told you to stop it. So, if you want to get back into a stream or get back into the good graces of Gorilla and Resolute and myself, if I do a stream, then you need to, watch your manners. Uh, follow the community guidelines. It tells you right there. I mean, it tells you read the community guidelines and follow the rules. And if you can do that, then you get to talk to anybody on the stream. Somebody will be able to talk to you. Anger actively decreases intelligence. As an extension of fear, anger is a survival state. The higher brain functions are suppressed to focus on survival. Would you agree with that, Trusty?
I do, and I think we tend to get angry in situations where we shouldn't. And I had something like that happen tonight, where somebody was getting aggressive with me, and if I had chosen to react, the situation would have escalated. But because I read the situation correctly and I chose to ignore it, nothing at all happened. The guy just, verbally abused me and vented and just fucked off. And I didn't have to do anything about it. I just continued on with my game of chess and life, and nothing else happened.
And
So
yeah,
I think anger is super. It's situational, and it's something that's most of the time it's unnecessary unless you are worried about like a legitimate violence.
yeah. There's one guy that dissed me. Should I say who it was? I don't know. Do you want me to say, or I don't have to say? But it's somebody we know, and I think. Should I say his name? I don't know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I'm as long as we're not, like I said, we're not doxing. But yeah, any channel people, like, just say it.
Yeah, because we're still live, so. um, well, okay. He goes by the name of Captain Finity. Finity. Captain
I've heard of
Finity.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one night I go by hit one of his streams, and he's in there, with anti-derivative Jill and PvP, Pleasant Valley Picker. He also lives in Canada like me, and then there's pop culture curator was there, and Captain Finity was just, he was just spouting off, like he always does, and you know, people either tolerate it or they don't. They'll put up with it or they'll just say, "F you" and go away, and like stuff like that. Well, I didn't really say that kind. I didn't cuss him out or anything, but he was trying to get on my inner nerve, and I thought for a moment, I said, "Now wait a second. In real life, if somebody tries to get on my my most, inner nerve, I'll know it. But that's never really happened because I'm able to diffuse the situation, either don't do anything or I'm just able to talk my way out of it, and diffuse it. But for some reason, Finity just kind of reached in there. It was almost like he reached in there and yanked at it, was pulling at it. And I just couldn't stand for it. And I was just, starting to berate him and, demean him and, basically almost, yelling at the guy. And he was saying, it's only because I made a mistake one time where, I followed the StreamYard address that was posted and I popped in, and then he called me in, but he then realized he made a mistake. I wasn't supposed to be called into the stream until he actually gave me permission, but instead he just went ahead and did it, not thinking, and I was in there. But then we talked, and then I was like, I don't know if he was complimenting me or, backstabbing me or what. I don't know what he was up to, but suffice it to say, I just basically told him off and I said to everybody else, I'm sorry, but I got to get out of here. I just can't deal with this, British bastard, I called him, and said bollocks. just, just really meanly, to him. And, he said, well, now you're not in my top 300 list to get on my stream or my panel. Now you're at the bottom 600 or something. Or bottom
Oh
300.
yeah,
I said,
that's a bit.
300? What? Yeah. So I unsubbed his channel that very night, and then I realized that my wife, after we had got our bills paid and everything, she was going to go take care of some groceries. So I just said, you know what, I'm just moving up the stream about the bond thing to that very day. So that very next day, June 1st, I went ahead and moved it up to that. Of course, Gorilla said, "You're 6 days late or 6 days early," and I was like, "I know, Gorillas. I'm sorry, and I just told him the situation, and he understood, so he came back. So yeah,
Oh
you guys were all really nice about it, and I appreciate that. Uh,
no, I'm sure Gorillas was just messing with you as far as that
oh
goes. We're
yeah,
pretty loose with that. Like we know who we know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and
He's a
but
loose, he's a
something
loose
you said
head guy.
earlier kind of intrigued me, and I wanted to kind of dial back to that hitting the inner nerve, and how
Yeah,
I feel like people on the internet tend to do that because we don't have the same personal connection. You don't have the face to face encounter
right.
where people read you. And the way I kind of see that interaction is if they've triggered you, it's either A, they've done it to intentionally trigger you, so they're trolling and they want to get a reaction out of you. And so the best move is to not react to it, right? Which is difficult.
Yeah,
And the other thing is when they hit that nerve, sometimes they're actually empathizing with you. And you hit a deep connection with this person in a way that is like so impersonal that it feels dehumanizing. But in reality, that's like another human connection you've made. And that's something I've discovered on the internet where somebody will say something real to me and I don't like it. It's in a live stream. It feels like I'm being called out, but then I have to reflect on it later and be like, no, this is true.
yeah,
This person read me correctly.
yeah. Oh, and I just see Doc. Did you want to read his? Did you want me to read his second? And then Hillary's emails is in here too. Hillary, hey, how's it going? People are emotionally threatened by their worldview being challenged. That's the fear that they feel. Yes, Hillary, that's true. And then Doc said something before that to Hillary. There it is. Anger is necessary to get you through a threatening situation. A discussion or a debate is not an immediate threat. Maybe if people keep that in mind, discussions will be more productive. That's very true, Doc. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Trustee does too. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I see a lot of that too. In certain spaces, people will um, tend to respond to an experiment like a thought experiment or hey let me introduce this idea And then they say, well, that threatens my way of life. Well, I'm not trying to threaten your way of life. I'm trying to present an argumentative challenge to what you believe and just have a conversation about it. And I don't want to directly threaten you, right?
Right,
There's
right.
a difference there.
Well, you just want them. You just want to say to them, can you come up with a simple answer? If you feel, if you feel a certain way about something, just tell me. Just be plain and simple. Be blunt, honest. Come right out. Don't beat around the bush. Just say something. That's going to be, in your view, that is exactly how you feel at that point in time, how you feel that moment. And then, if a person like myself can connect with that, I'll tell you right up. I'll say, hey, look, yeah, I totally get it. I understand that. I gone through a similar situation like you did, and if you can find that common bond, that's a huge step. I mean, you know that helps establish a lot of friendly relationships if you know that someone else uh, can identify with you like right away. Just kind of be able to get along with you that way.
Yeah, I think there's no other way, and that's what we call society. Is this system just going on, right? Like that's all that it means to be living in a society. Is we're
Yeah,
continually challenging and questioning one another and trying to come to some agreement on certain important things.
yeah. Well, what they say, one of the things that my father said that I'll never forget, he says, question everything. And I said, well, what if I piss somebody off you know, if I'm in a classroom or if with a teacher teaching or something like that? And he said, no, question everything because you can't always believe what you read, you can't always believe what you see, and you can't always believe what you hear. So if you have a doubt, question it, question the doubt, find the truth in everything. It's the best thing you can do, and it's a tough road because not many people in this society nowadays want to even bother to know the truth or to find it. I think it's amazing how many people live in ignorance. It's absolutely appalling to me. I mean, it's just I'm sure it is to you, um, Justine.
Yeah, I heard that earlier, and it came up in conversation. I do think ignorance is, if you're going to call something a sin, it's the ultimate sin. You want
Yeah,
to know as much as possible, but at the same time, you can't know everything, and you have to be able to trust people who are more qualified in other areas than you. I
yeah,
want to
true.
read Doc Fearsome's comment here. Agreed, Hillary, and I think people attach too much emotion and identity to their beliefs, and I think that's crucial. Attaching your identity to your belief structure is problematic, and people don't see it that way. They think that their beliefs are their identity. I am a Christian, therefore that's all I do. I am an atheist, therefore, and we can just continue down that rabbit hole, and it's damaging to people's psychology, and we don't really progress that way. And he continues, I think it's better for people to work together to learn the truth. And
And
I think
that's
that's kind
absolutely
of
true.
it.
Yeah.
That's I'll let you go. There, it's circular there. I think the truth is that it's better for people to work together, right? There's a circular reasoning involved there that we just don't seem to get around. That like I said earlier, it doesn't really matter what we believe as long as we are able to kind of come together in this structure of society and function together.
Yeah, I've seen instances which astound me to this day. I've seen instances where I've seen people with different religions or different beliefs come together to work together for one common bond or one common goal, and to be able to achieve that goal together, even though they have such different belief systems and different attitudes, but to find one common thread of help, helping one another, and then being able to bring that group together, to do good things. And and I've seen amazing things like that. I've seen some of the most stubborn people you could ever meet in your life, but when I've seen a bunch of those stubborn people draw together and achieve something, it's amazing. It's absolutely astounding. One of the best things you can actually hope to see in your lifetime if you do get lucky enough to see that.
Yeah, it sounds like a utopia. It sounds like the ideal. And if we get the opportunity to see it in action, it's pretty miraculous. It's pretty incredible, right? Like
Yeah,
there's something
well,
else going on here.
there was a simple thing I think you remember years back called Hands Across America. And what they did is they started, from the East Coast, went all the way to the West Coast. And I think, other than I think a couple minor areas, I think it was, where they really couldn't get a chance to hold each other's hand. But overall, the whole chain, everybody like held each other's hands and stuff, and just for one moment in time, and they were all banded together. I thought that was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And I thought maybe someday they'll do it worldwide, or you know pull some kind of miracle and do it that way. But I don't think that's ever been achieved or hinted on since. But for what happened in America at that time, that was amazing. That was cool.
All right. I mean, I agree with you there a bit. I think we go on forever, but it's now 1:55 a.m. my time, and I am a bit delirious and tired. So
Okay, man.
at this
I,
point, I have to
I
say,
I
well,
like your
it's
comments
come
on
about that time. But
yes,
do you have shill your stuff again, Mikey? Whatever, what do you have coming up? Do you have anything scheduled?
well, like I said, I might go ahead and take your advice and schedule something within the next day or so. I can't do anything next week. Like I said, due to fire drills, I really don't want a fire alarm to go off in this building while I'm trying to do a stream. So I know at least I won't be doing anything from like the 5th through the 9th next week. I might do something later on this afternoon, this Sunday, you know, on the chat. Just might put a surprise stream and just say some things and see who gets attracted and wants to come in and talk and everything. And so that's really from now on I believe my chats, or I mean my live streams, will just be spur of the moment thing. So yeah, I don't have any real plans, but like I said, I'm still taking ideas and suggestions for one good live stream where I want to talk about a specific franchise or a film, or that we've seen recently. Uh, my wife and I, we just saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We thought it was a great film, and we both gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Said it was a perfect closure to uh, you know, the whole trilogy that they did when they started, and when they mixed with the Avengers, and and then of course with Thor when he was with them for a short time until they did Love and Thunder. So yeah, that might be the next major one I might do is on the Guardians thing. But yeah, other than that, I might just do uh, you know a run of the mill stream like you did tonight. So yeah, keep an eye out because I might just surprise some of you and put out a surprise stream. See
Well,
what happens.
I think we would definitely enjoy that, and hopefully we'll get you some new subs here tonight. I encourage everybody to go check out Mikey Sue's 4. Um,
Yeah,
doing his things.
I've got 87 subs, my friend. I'm only
Right.
13 away from 100. I mean, I'm not near Jill's or or
That's
Pops
the
or
other Jill, not our Jill. We have a different Jill in our
yeah,
so I have to differentiate. I'm like, we have another Jill, but it's a different
a
Jill.
different
That's
Jill.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I just like I said, I'm approaching 100 subs, so I'll be so happy if you guys get me that far because I I don't ever plan on monetizing my channel. I don't see why. I don't see a point in it. But I do feel like if I at least reach 100 subs, I'll know then I've at least achieved, some kind of achievement in YouTube, and I've been here for a while, and I've seen a lot of things. I mean, I know you've seen a lot of things, my friend, and I know you too, Doc and Hillary have seen a lot on these channels, and you just want them to be, you know, kind, polite, intelligent people, expressing their views, freely without any restrictions, no copyright strikes, nothing like that. You want to be able to come out there and just say, hey, you know, life is all right, life is good, you'll be fine, you know, look for people that are like-minded that will, express their concerns, worry about you if something happens to you, stuff like that. So
Yeah, like destroy the man with streaming consciousness. Exactly. No, I totally get it, and the algorithm will not control me. Doc Fearsome, you're living in another dimension because if you're in Iowa, I don't know, it's future time, and I can't cope with that. So it's only 2 a.m. here.
it's 5 a.m. here. We're almost ready to have sunrise, and we're, like I said, I'm in Toronto area, so we're up here in Scarborough, Ontario, and it's 4 o'clock his time now, and it's about 2 a.m. your time in the Pacific. So yeah,
Exactly. Last call in closing. So basically, I'm kicking everybody out of the bar, but I encourage you to go. Anybody who's listening, subscribe to Mikey's channel. Again, good people's over here, and be
and
gentle because
yeah,
I've got a lot of atheists over here, so they're gonna, we might push back on the religion a little bit, but a lot of nice folks over here. We're
yeah,
not trying to troll. Don't do it, but that's just a suggestion. I
yeah.
have to say, I'm going to. So if you're streaming tomorrow, and I would encourage you to do so, around between what time? Between like, so for you it'll be.
Well, somebody said I should do it. Somebody said I should do it at night, and pretty much any time. I think that Gorillas gave me an idea for any time after 8 p.m. Eastern time, because a lot of people are home by then or something. And the latest I really would go would be like 9 o'clock Eastern. I wouldn't really go any later than that because I know my streams would probably last anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. I mean, this last one I did lasted just over 3 hours, and I didn't even plan on that. I was hoping for at least less than three, maybe 3.5 at the very most. But luckily, I got it just over three, just barely over
Yeah,
three.
3 or 4 hour stream generally gets just more views. Even if it's just a click, right? Like,
Yeah,
and we look for that, but as far as audience engagement, like when you're on topic, if you have a good, 2 hour stream, maybe that's on a particular topic, cool. And then if you're
yeah,
gonna do an open room, try to
yeah.
go a little bit longer. And it kind of doesn't really matter what happens in between because once you get over that hurdle, you just find that the people start clicking the link. You know what I mean? That's all I can. That's all I can say.
Sure, oh,
Whether or
sure.
not they stay or hang
Well,
around and do the side chat, people
right.
click the link and hit the like button.
Well, I hope to, like I said, when I start to do these spur of the moment chats, or live streams, I hope to experiment with times. I'm not going to go. I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to go anytime before 12 noon. There's no way I'd be up that late to run my own stream. So no. But anytime. I'd just say basically anytime after 1 o'clock Eastern and onward, and then however late I get. I don't want to go later than 10. So it's probably best saying like anywhere starting at 1 to like between 1 and 9 p.m. Eastern. That's probably within that time frame that I would do something.
Awesome. I will be super busy tomorrow. So if I'm not hanging out on Mikey's channel, at some point I might do something here. It just depends what happens with time, but definitely Monday something will occur, and you won't hear about it because I'm terrible at giving notifications. This is where I try to end the stream gracefully, which it never actually happens
Yeah.
because everything over here is just 3 left feet. So
All right, Trusty.
be well, be kind.
Trusty.
Do what you do. Mike,
Yeah.
Mike,
Oh,
Mikey,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, go ahead, Trusty. Read the last two. We'll make sure we get Doc and Hillary out right
Oh
away.
no! I don't read comments. We don't do that here.
Okay.
Hillary's emails in Houston woke at 1 a.m. when the thunder caused their dog to wake them. And Doc Fearsome, I was going to end the stream with this one. So.
Oh yeah, he says luckily
You botched me, Mikey, unintentionally because I didn't tell you my intentions.
Oops.
Luckily for me, I really have no concept of time, which is why 2:30. Be well and stay trusty. And 2:05 a.m. is a good time to end a stream.
It is.
Good night and good luck.
Good night, everyone.